Hi, everyone. Rick here. When Jesus was on the cross, just before his death, he prayed to God to forgive all of those who had persecuted him and put him to death. He did that out of mercy. He recognized that they are victims of deception. They didn't know what they were doing. All they were doing was simply what their father was showing them to do. The father of this world, the prince of this world, who was Satan. He wanted them to see what was happening so that they could turn and repent. He knew that many of them were called by God, but haven't answered that call yet. We know there were many Pharisees in the Sanhedrin and synagogue leaders who secretly acknowledged him as the Messiah. How many of them answered that call during Pentecost and afterwards? I don't know. None of us know. But I do know they answered that call because of his great mercy toward them. He could have condemned them on the cross. He could have said, I'm not condemning you, but God's judgment will fall upon you in the last day. That's what so many Christians do today. In the social upheaval that's going on in this country and other countries around the world, when we're faced with transparent and blatant lawlessness right in front of our eyes, Christians are lashing out in anger and judgment instead of mercy. If Christ is walking in us and his desires, the desires of the Father that was in him, is living in us, and we put aside all of our nature, our personal human nature, we should be acting out in that same mercy through humility and meekness that Christ did. The same humility and meekness that the apostles called for in their epistles. Christians seem to forget that humility and meekness in their effort to show their love in calling people out. We cannot put ourselves above anyone else. We are not better than the world or those who haven't come to Christ because we were once just like them. The only reason we're called out of that is because of Christ in us, not because of us. So we cannot, in prideful arrogance, put ourselves above the world. We need to humble ourselves before the worst sinner, as well as our brothers and sisters, in meekness and humility. And in there is the power of God's love and God's mercy in his desires in us. Until next time, God bless.